How you guys? How you doing? So we're doing our recording today, and we're going to go on with our lessons. What we're still learning about is the days, why, and where. Mesopotamia, very good. So somebody tell me, just stop, right? Just stop. Review. What is a city-state? What is a city-state? I gave you a great analogy of what a city-state is. And surrounding it controls, right? Right? So come on, guys, think back. What did I say a city-state was? I gave an analogy of what it would be like here in the United States right now if it was a city-state. Go.
An independent city, the surrounding land they control.
Exactly. But what I said was, imagine if it was California and it was Texas and they're little tiny states all around the United States, right? And they were fighting each other. You guys don't remember that? We talked about it over and over again, the review of the city-state. Yes, no, maybe. I need some sort of assurance that you get what I'm talking about. Okay? Okay, so we're going to read from the screen a little bit. I'm going to read a little bit, and then you're going to read a little bit, and I'm going to read a little bit. Got it? Here we go. So, we are literally talking about the daily life. What was it like to live every day, just like me and you come to school every day, go home every day, take a bath? What was our friends like? What was education like? So, the cities were built, along what two rivers? What's that? Good. Long docks were built along the sides of the river so that the ships could easily dock and unload the goods that they had to trade. Right? So it sounds just like us. Most of our stuff comes in on ships, does it not? Yeah. And then it's shipped up, or, brought up here to our Targets and our Walmarts and our grocery stores and all that good stuff, right? Okay, they had celebrations, they had poets who would recite verses, they had great kingly deeds and golden cups, delicious sweet wine, right? They made wonderful arts and crafts. You can see some of them here. Actually, that's for that long ago. That's not too bad. What do you guys think?
That's pretty good.
It is. Not to mention, we're going to be doing some analyzing of photographs, and next week, I think, or the week after. And so I want you guys to really start noticing really what's in a picture. Not just what you first see, but what's in a picture. Okay? So they made beautiful things, right? They created wonderful mosaics. Do you guys know what a mosaic is? Yeah, I don't think we do it too much anymore. So usually, well, my sister used to do it. She'd break glass, like different colored Coke bottles or wine bottles or whatever, and then she would make this like concrete gypsum kind of stuff on a table, and then she put pieces on it, and it would have specific colors, and then she would put this sealant on it, and it would just be like this beautiful broken glass thing that looked like a well. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly. How do we know all this stuff, you guys? What are these guys called? Archaeologists. That's very good. Archaeologists, because they dug up this stuff and they found all this stuff, right? Okay, we're gonna try to take in some terms now. Here we go. Religion. Anybody wanna give it a try? Let me blow it up for you. You wanna try? Let's do it. Polytheistic. So we want to know what that word means. Polytheistic means they believe in more than one God. Poly means many. Go. Pleasure. Displeasure. And you guys, you remember that was our vocabulary words last week, right? That was one of our vocabulary words, okay? So we know what the ziggurats are. We know, we've seen pictures of them before. They're in the middle of the city-state. And who is the only one that can go to the top of it? Do you remember that?
Priest.
The priest. The priests were the only one. So see, once again, they're giving the priest power, are they not? Right? In America today, are the priests the only ones that can go into the church? No, everybody can, right? So we talked about the ziggurats a little bit. We're going on to the daily life. Now we're going to get into why was education so important? So I'm going to read the first one, and then somebody can read the last little one. What do you guys think? Education. The ancient Sumerians believed in education. Record keeping was very important. They wrote everything down. Go. On clay pieces, and they made these little marks, right? These little weird marks. Yeah, it's good to remember that. That's in your vocabulary words right in front of you too. Don't forget that. But look, we have new words. That's right, sometimes you actually did it right. They had a title, right? Like attorney, teacher, lawyer, doctor, it's a title, okay? They wrote everything down. They wanted their sons to learn how to read and write. Public education probably began with the Sumerians. Schools were attached to temples. Only boys went to school. Teachers were very, very strict. Students had to do a perfect job or they were punished. Because someone who could read and write could always find a good job, most students wanted to go to school, right? Good job. Eric, can you read this paragraph for me, please?
There were some for one classes of people in ancient summer, the priests, the upper class, the lower class, and
The slaves, right? So that's kind of how it works. Remember we talked a little bit at the beginning of the week about how it is in India? Normally you can't marry outside of your social class, right? It's actually against the law. Here in America, most of us never do. We normally marry in our own social class. But it's not against the law. If you marry someone rich, you marry someone poor. It'll be fine. We usually get married around here for love. Okay? Why were priests so powerful? What do you guys think before we ever even read this? Why do you think the priests were so powerful? And they were for a very, very long time. What do you think? It's true. It had something to do with people believing that they were closer to God, right? So they must be more powerful than me. They must be more special than me because I can't go up there. Right? It's just a weird thing. And they gave them more power. So let's read why they think the priests were more powerful. What do you say? Okay, you want to do it? Go.
The Sumerians believed that all
it's kind of funny how when we have a big storm now, or someone gets flooded and people get, that there's still this thought that somehow someone that's going through that God must be mad at them. Like, how did that happen to me? Right? It's an old-fashioned way of thinking, isn't it? It really truly is. So that's kind of what they did too. So it's kind of interesting, right? I think this part's interesting. There's a written record of the two priests by the bed of a sick boy dressed to look like a fish to better speak with the water god. So the priest would dress up like the gods that they believed could help the person. So I think it's kind of interesting that he dressed up to look like a fish. Here's a cool little picture, right? And once again, just like it is today, the upper class they had more, right? They had more health, they had more food, they had more jewelry, they had more clothes, had more education, the whole 9 yards. The homes, want to give it a try? Go ahead, Connor.
The rich lived in large houses, and the poor lived in small homes. Those homes, town houses, new and led into a small family courtyard, and then to the roof, the core, the roofs were flat, weather, fermented, people cooked and slept on their roofs as the city grew richer and poor. Several
Sections
sections of town to
develop.
develop, but all families had a home or
Of their own. Very, very good. Okay, guys. This is your note-taking skills. Go. I can't remember if this is the one we used or not. Okay, here we go. Get your papers out. We're gonna discuss this in a split second.
In Sumer, part of the ancient land of Mesopotamia, there was a famous city-state called Nippur. One day, a teacher in Nippur asked his students to start a journal about their lives and their country. This is the story of one student, Nisaba, and her journal.
Okay, here we go. Nisaba's journal, entry 1.
Good note-taking right there.
Teacher wants us to write about our lives. What is my life like here in Sumer? I think I'll tell the story of my people from the very beginning. My grandfather knows all about it. He says the first thing we Sumerians did was get really good at farming.
That was the first thing they did.
My ancestors used to make their living by hunting wild animals for food. They were constantly on the move following the herds. As they traveled, they would also gather wild berries, nuts, and greens to eat. But they often didn't know where their next meal would come from. It was a hard way to live. Then they discovered they could plant and harvest a kind of wheat they found growing wild. And they also found out how to tame wild goats and sheep and raise them for food. Grandfather calls that domestication. It meant they didn't have to hunt for food anymore. They could grow it themselves. And so my ancestors stopped wandering and stayed here. They discovered that food grows better here than almost anywhere else. That's because we're in a river valley, right between two rivers, in fact. Mesopotamia actually means land between the rivers. One river is the Tigris, and the other is the Euphrates. My grandfather says it's easy to grow food in our valley because the soil here is so fertile. And he says that is because of the mountains up north. It snows a lot up there in the winter. When the snow melts, all that water runs down into the valley and into the rivers. Then the rivers rise over their banks and flood the valley. And they dump.
What happens when we go to Tahoe and it's all snowing up there? Where does all that snow come to? Anybody know? Here. It's the same thing here. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Napa Valley is a very good place to grow food. Right? The soil is really good. It really is. It's fertile. That's a good word. Fertile. Okay, here we go.
They dump a lot of really good dirt on the land. It's great for growing food in. So now we eat really well. We grow barley and wheat, lots of beans and fresh vegetables, and fruits like melons, dates, apples, figs, and grapes. Our animals give us milk, cheese, and meat, and there are always plenty of fish in the rivers. When my ancestors first started farming here, their biggest problem was never knowing when a flood might come and wash away their crops. Even if the crops survived that, they might die in the summer when it's so hot and there's not enough water. But my people didn't give up. Instead, we actually invented a way to control the river. First, we learned how to build levees. Those are big piles of earth between the fields and the river. They're too tall for the river to get over, so they prevent the floods. Then we made gated ditches around the fields, and when the crops needed water in the summer, we would flood the ditches and let some river water flow in.
Okay, we talked about that last time. Remember the word irrigation and the word canal? Super important, right? When we're talking about farming, and especially in a place, where is Mesopotamia at? What do we call it today? Iraq. It's true. And what did I tell you the temperature was like over there? It's really, it can get that hot. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so we're gonna stop about right there, and we'll continue on with it tomorrow. We'll just watch it and we'll discuss it a little bit. Can you tell me something? Name some food she just told you about. I want you to know if you're paying attention. Go. 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 Exactly. Go. Pear. Cheese. They make cheese out of the milk. Figs. Fish. Anything? Yeah. So they actually had a lot. Yeah. Beans. They actually had a lot of food. They were really food wealthy, right? So they didn't have a lot of anything else. You didn't see a lot of trees over there, did you?
No.
They didn't have a lot of gold or copper or anything else. But what they did have was a lot of darn food. And so what they do is they traded it. Super smart, right? Super smart. Okay, so we are going to, you guys are going to take this big project picture that I got going on right here. It's kind of cool. And all you guys have those emojis on your card. So they want you to take this picture and then just write a sentence about it. Okay? So this should take all of maybe 3 or 4 minutes. I'm going to say super easy to do. Right? Go ahead and get started on it. I want to see what you come up with. I thought it was funny because one of them had one of the symbols that just looks like an old-fashioned star. It stands for God in heaven. So it looks like this. It looks like this, right? And it stands for God in heaven. So I was thinking about how do you make a sentence out of that? I don't know. I was just thinking about some Bible verse or something. My God in heaven, I love you.
I love God.
What's he? I love God in heaven. It's perfect. Yeah, Yeah, that one was a little strange to me, so I'm like, But I would have never guessed the symbols, would you?
No.
I would never have guessed that that symbol up there meant God in heaven.
It just looks like a firework kind of.
I know, I was wrong. Alright. And then the other one is mountain. The other one is mountain, and that sure as heck don't look like a mountain to me. If this is supposed to be a mountain. Well, the man kind of looks like a man. A little bit.
No, it looks more like a mountain. I know,
I mean,
the
this-
man looks more like a mountain than.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, they look
And
opposite.
the fish. To be often opposite.
They really do look opposite. Okay, guys, let's take this one. Give me a couple of the sentences and then we'll talk about it and then we'll finish this. And I can actually take it home for homework, or we can do it tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning? Okay. Anybody come up with a second one? Or a different one? The rest of them are easy to make a sentence out of, don't you think? The mountain one? I climbed a mountain. I love a mountain. They already did this one. Right, you just put one in the sentence. You gotta draw up a picture, like a little emoji thing. Guys, we used to have these back whenever I was a kid. Whenever I was a kid, it was kind of cool. But now it's not gonna work. I need like, give me something to draw. Oh, I didn't want to trace something. But, we used to write whole sentences, you guys, check this out. They were whole sentences with I's, and it's like I, and then the I would be I, like the letter I, and then the next one would be C, which would be two I's, and then there would be U, and then it would be a big letter U, it was all symbols. You know what I mean, like writing in weird symbols. B-R, I-G-H-T. B-R-I-G-H-T. And I like the dictation the first one too. As soon as the sun rose in the sky, we knew it was going to be a very hot day. My husband
I
loves
have
fish.
3 of them.
Okay, what do you have? Let's discuss it real quick.
I love God in heaven. And then the second one I like fish. And then third one is the sun is red.
It's just a way to fill in, to see something how they wrote it. I don't understand the symbols, but you know. Okay, go. And you use the words too. See the example they give
You
you?
gotta use the words and then you gotta
And then you use the symbol.
You use the symbol between the words.
Yeah, yeah. Go.
The sun is hot.
Great.
God in heaven.
Good.
Man is sleeping.
And it's sleeping. Perfect. So you guys get the gist of this, right?
Yeah.
So these packets, we'll be doing these packets, because we're gonna end, all the Mesopotamia stuff. We'll be doing these packets until like Friday. We still have a couple more things. I wanna go through a little bit more of the religion with you. And then we'll be moving on to a whole nother thing. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay. So while you guys are, you can pass those forward.
Write your name on it.
Yeah, write your name on it so I know who's who. And you guys are going to do your vocabulary worksheet. But the first thing I want to do before we go any further is fold up. Here's your new vocabulary words. We're going to go back over that city state because it's like a hard name for you to get to know. City state, tablet, uniform, scribe, contract, cheerleader. These are all on your pamphlet, on your chapter, right in your chapter, they're all on the front page. All right, here we go, let's get started, before we run out of time on today. Vocabulary review. You have your vocabulary box over there, use it. A large temple called a blank was built in Ur. So write your words and just fill in the blank. A large temple called a blank was built in Ur. Look at your words over here. It's on your page. It's on your page. No, I want you to write it down, man. I'm putting this in your grade book. This is a great way for us to review what our vocabulary words were from before. Okay?
It's hard to write it.
Okay, well, just try your best. Maybe just write down here. Go one, right. Two, right. Okay, have a seat, please. There you go. Number 2. The Sumerian system of writing based on wedge-shaped symbols was called, look in your box over here, and it's going to tell you what it is. Write it in there. Your words are right there to fill in the blanks. Look, your vocabulary word box is right there on the page. It's right there on the page. It's right there. It's right there. Oh, that's right. Good idea. Good idea. Okay, second one. Come on. Don't waste time on this. Number 2, the Sumerian system of writing based on wedge-shaped symbols was called what? What was their writing called? Right? It's right there in the box. Pick one of them.
Maybe your first page is this pamphlet.
No, don't. Use your word box right there. But if you absolutely don't know what the word means at all, then certainly use your vocabulary page. But you should know these. This is the 4th day now. Okay, number 3. A blank was a person who was trained to write. That one you all should have done. Okay, here we go. Number 4. Sumerian farmers found a way to blank their fields. Sumerian farmers found a way to blank their fields. And last but not least, here we go. Sumerians used wild donkeys to pull their what? Kind of weird we don't have these anymore. We don't really need them, but I'm just saying.
I know what it's called, but I don't know.
Well, look at your words. Okay, how'd we do? That's our little review. So I'll grade those this afternoon and see how we did. But this is day number 4. You should have it down. Between the notes, the videos, the lessons, all that, the discussion, right? The reading that we did. We're just picking up on those big points of these ancient civilizations to figure out how did we get here? Where did writing come from? Where did time come from? Why do we have to get an education? Who thought that out? Got it? Okay. If you're done with that, please pass it up and pass it up with all the rest of your stuff. You can leave it in 5 minutes before the bell rings. You guys did really well today. You did well with the reading, you did well with the note taking. Do your exit ticket, the whole thing. Get your computers out and do your exit tickets. So you cannot leave my class until you're done with it. So unless you wanna be late going to your next class, I suggest you, get on it. It's called the exit ticket. Okay, I got everybody, I got no. Let's do this. Right on, you guys. You're being very, 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 very good. Let me show you. Let me show you. Exit ticket. Google Forms. Go to Google Forms, folks. There it is. Yeah, remember? It's your exit ticket. Right, fill it out. 154. You can do it. It's short and sweet. How we do? Pretty simple. Oh, shoot, I forgot to tell you one more thing. Hold on. Stop the presses. I have a surprise for you. Are you excited? Your Google Classroom. 5 questions right there. It's due this, not tomorrow. We gotta get through the rest of the thing, you know what I'm saying? There's still a couple things we haven't touched on in Mesopotamia. How they fell, some of the religious practices, there's a couple things, right? This is your, this is the quiz. You need to make a copy of this, sweetheart. You cannot write on this. This is my copy. So erase that, please. Whoever's writing there. This is it right here. Go back and erase it. I don't know who's writing on it. It doesn't matter, but go back and erase it. It's Mary, it's you. Okay, that's fine. But listen, what you gotta do, come up here, and you gotta make a copy, and you gotta put Mary Kelly in it, so that it's yours. We've done this over and over again. We did it all week long doing the slides for the parent conferences and yeah. You guys, don't forget that. We did it all week long when we were doing the parent slides. Remember I told you you have to make a copy and make it your name. Otherwise, this is mine. And you guys will all be writing on the same document. You don't want to do that, because I won't go to the Follow me? Let me show you one more time before you go. Come up here, you make a copy, and then it goes, hey, that's the copy of the quiz. And then I'm going to go, hey, look, this is Connor.